There are trees in this world that governments have gone to war over. Trees that smugglers have risked their lives and their freedom to move across borders in the middle of the night. Trees so valuable, so rare, and so strategically important that entire nations decided they could not afford to let them leave. And most woodworkers have never heard the full story behind any of them. Today we are going to change that. Because behind every export ban on wood, there is a story. A story of empire, of greed, of ecological disaster, of craftsmanship so extraordinary that the world could not get enough of it. And when you understand these stories, you will never look at a piece of lumber the same way again. Welcome to Wood Uncle, the channel where real woodworkers come to learn what the textbooks leave out. If you are new here, you are in exactly the right place. Now let us get into it. Number 1. Cuban Mahogany. The wood that furnished the British Empire, and then disappeared. If you have ever sat in an 18th century English chair, slept in a Georgian four-poster bed, or run your hand along the banister of a colonial-era home, there is a very good chance you were touching Cuban mahogany. And there is an equally good chance that what you felt was unlike anything available in any lumberyard today. Cuban mahogany, known scientifically as Swietenia mahagoni, was considered the finest furniture wood in the world for nearly 2 centuries. It was dense, stable, and easy to work. It took finish like no other wood. It carved beautifully. It did not shrink or swell with the seasons. And it had a deep reddish-brown color that seemed to glow from within, deepening over decades into something almost impossibly rich. The British loved it so much they stripped the Caribbean bare. Cuba, Hispaniola, the Bahamas, Jamaica. By the early 20th century, wild Cuban mahogany was functionally gone from most of its native range. Cuba responded by banning its export entirely. And that ban has held ever since. Today, genuine Cuban mahogany is so rare that it appears almost exclusively in antique furniture and museum collections. What is sold as mahogany in lumber yards today is almost never the real thing. And the woodworkers of the 18th century who worked with it every day could not have imagined that one day it would simply cease to exist. Number 2. Brazilian Rosewood. The wood that built the finest guitars in the world and then vanished from legal trade. There is a generation of guitar players who will tell you, without hesitation, that the instruments made before 1969 are in a class entirely of their own. Not because of the craftsmanship, though that was extraordinary. Not because of the strings or the hardware. Because of the wood. Specifically, because of the back and sides made from Dalbergia nigra. Brazilian Rosewood. Brazilian rosewood is one of the most acoustically perfect woods ever discovered. Dense and oily, with a tonal quality that luthiers describe as simultaneously warm, complex, and articulate in a way that no substitute has ever fully replicated. It smells faintly of roses when cut. Its grain is dramatic, with wild dark streaks against the chocolate and violet background that makes every piece look like a painting. And for decades, it flowed out of Brazil in enormous quantities to guitar factories, furniture makers, and veneer mills around the world. Then Brazil looked at what was left. In 1967, the Brazilian government listed Brazilian rosewood under CITES Appendix 1, the highest level of international trade protection. The export of raw Brazilian rosewood became effectively illegal overnight. Guitar makers scrambled for their remaining stocks. Prices exploded. And today a vintage guitar with original Brazilian rosewood back and sides can sell for tens of thousands of dollars, with the wood itself being a significant part of that value. Here is the controversial part. There are luthiers and woodworkers who argue that the ban came too late and did too little. And there are others who argue that it came too early and destroyed an industry built on sustainable management. That debate has never been resolved. What has been resolved is that you will not buy Brazilian rosewood legally for a new project. What exists is what exists. And what exists is running out. Now I want to hear from you before we continue. Have you ever worked with either of these first two woods, or owned an instrument or piece of furniture made from them? Drop it in the comments, because the stories people carry about these woods are extraordinary. Number 3. African Blackwood. The wood so valuable it is called black gold. Dalbergia melanoxylon. The wood used to make the finest clarinets, oboes, and bagpipes in the world. It is among the densest and hardest woods on earth. A piece of African blackwood will sink in water. It takes a polish so fine that the surface looks like polished stone rather than wood. And it has been harvested from the dry forests of sub-Saharan Africa for over a century with very little thought given to what would happen when it was gone. Tanzania and Mozambique, the two primary sources, have imposed increasingly strict export controls over the last 2 decades. Tanzania banned the export of unprocessed African blackwood entirely, requiring that any wood leaving the country be in finished or semi-finished form to capture more of the economic value locally. This effectively ended the large-scale export of raw logs and has dramatically reduced the supply reaching international instrument makers. The trees themselves grow agonizingly slowly. A tree harvested today may be 60 or 70 years old with a trunk barely 6 inches in diameter. The harvestable wood inside is often only 2 or 3 inches across. It takes decades to grow what a craftsman can use in an afternoon, and the demand from the global instrument industry has never slowed. The result is a wood that is simultaneously irreplaceable, critically threatened, and still being consumed faster than it can regenerate. Number 4. Lignum Vitae. The wood that was once the most useful in the world. In the age of sale, Lignum Vitae was worth its weight in silver. No exaggeration. It is the hardest and densest naturally occurring wood on Earth, and it contains so much natural resin that it is self-lubricating. This meant that for centuries, before modern engineering and synthetic materials, Lignum Vitae was the only material in the world capable of serving as a bearing surface in ship propeller shafts. It ran underwater for years without maintenance and outlasted every metal alternative tried against it. The Caribbean nations that hosted its native forests watched centuries of extraction reduce their Lignum Vitae populations to near nothing. Guyana, which has some of the largest remaining stands, has placed strict controls on its harvest and export. Several Caribbean nations have banned export entirely. And the wood, which once kept the navies of the world moving, is now so rare that working pieces of antique Lignum Vitae machinery are preserved in maritime museums as historical artifacts. For woodworkers, Lignum Vitae remains one of the most extraordinary materials that can be touched. Old mallet heads and tool handles made from it last indefinitely. The wood is so oily that it needs no finish. It is brown-green when cut, deepening to a rich dark olive over time. And it is almost impossible to find in any meaningful quantity today. When you encounter it, you are holding something from a world that no longer fully exists. Number 5. Burmese Teak. The wood that built the British Navy and now funds conflict. Teak is one of the most recognizable and most desired woods in the world. Outdoor furniture, yacht decks, high-end flooring. Its reputation for durability, stability, and weather resistance is completely deserved. And the finest teak in the world, by most measures, comes from Myanmar, formerly Burma. Burmese teak has a higher oil content, tighter grain, and greater stability than plantation-grown teak from anywhere else. Myanmar banned the export of raw teak logs in 2014, requiring all teak to be processed domestically before export. The stated reason was to add economic value and reduce illegal logging. But the situation is more complicated than that. Myanmar's teak forests have been linked to the funding of military operations. Sanctions from Western governments have targeted the teak trade specifically as a way to cut off revenue to the military government. The European Union banned Myanmar teak imports in 2021. The United States followed, This means that the finest natural teak in the world is now either legally unavailable to most buyers in the developed world or comes through supply chains that are at best murky and at worst directly linked to human rights abuses. For woodworkers who care about where their material comes from, Burmese teak presents a genuine ethical problem that has no clean answer. It is a wood whose beauty and quality are beyond dispute, and whose current situation is deeply troubling. Number 6. Honduran Mahogany. The wood that replaced Cuban mahogany, and is now following the same path. When Cuban mahogany disappeared from available supply, the furniture and cabinet-making world turned to its close relative, Swietenia macrophylla. Honduran mahogany. Also called big leaf mahogany. And for decades, it filled the gap admirably. It is not quite Cuban mahogany. Knowledgeable craftsmen will tell you the grain is slightly coarser and the working properties not quite as refined. But it is genuinely beautiful wood, genuinely stable, and genuinely capable of producing furniture of the highest quality. And then history repeated itself. The same overconsumption that destroyed the Cuban mahogany population began consuming the Honduran. Brazil, Bolivia, and Peru listed Honduran mahogany under CITES Appendix 2 in 2003, requiring export permits and sustainability documentation. Honduras placed a moratorium on mahogany logging. Peru restricted its harvest dramatically. The wild supply collapsed so rapidly that within a decade, legally harvested old-growth Honduran mahogany had become nearly as rare as Cuban. What is perhaps most troubling about this story is that we watched it happen. We knew what overconsumption had done to Cuban mahogany. We watched the same pattern develop with Honduran mahogany and did very little to stop it. The wood that was supposed to replace a lost resource became a lost resource itself within a single generation. Number 7. Agarwood. The most expensive wood in the world, and one of the most controlled. You may never have heard of Agarwood. But if you have ever smelled a high-end Middle Eastern perfume or incense, you have almost certainly encountered its fragrance. Agarwood, also known as oud, is not primarily valued as a structural or furniture wood. It is valued for the extraordinarily rare, dark, resinous heartwood that certain Aquilaria trees produce when infected by a specific mold. The resulting material is one of the most complex and treasured fragrances in the world, with a single kilogram of the highest grade selling for prices that exceed the weight of gold. The trees that produce agarwood are native to Southeast Asia and parts of South Asia. They have been harvested, and in many cases completely stripped from forests, across their entire native range. Indonesia, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and India have all placed export bans or severe restrictions on wild agarwood. The entire genus Aquilaria is listed under CITES. And despite all of this, the illegal trade in wild agarwood is one of the most lucrative wildlife crimes in the world, driven by demand from perfume markets in the Middle East and China that shows no sign of slowing. For woodworkers, agarwood is a fascinating and sobering case. It is a material so valuable that its existence as a living tree has become a liability rather than an asset in the regions where it grows. And it illustrates something that applies to almost every wood on this list. When demand exceeds what a natural system can provide, the natural system loses every time. Unless someone chooses differently. So there you have it. 7 woods that were banned from export, and the stories behind why. Cuban mahogany, stripped from the Caribbean by 2 centuries of insatiable demand. Brazilian rosewood, silenced in 1967 before the last tree fell. African blackwood, still being consumed faster than it can grow. Lignum Vitae, the self-lubricating wonder of the sailing age, now nearly gone. Burmese teak, tangled in politics and conflict. Honduran mahogany, which repeated the mistakes of Cuban mahogany within a single lifetime. And agarwood, the most expensive wood in the world and one of the most illegally traded. Every one of these stories ends the same way. A resource the world believed was inexhaustible turned out not to be. And by the time the bans came, the damage was already done. Here is what I want you to think about. The next time you choose your lumber, you are not just choosing a material. You are casting a vote for the kind of forests that will exist when your grandchildren are woodworkers. That vote matters. And it starts with knowing the stories. If this video gave you something to think about, subscribe to Wood Uncle and share it with a fellow woodworker. Every week we bring you the kind of history and knowledge that most channels never go near. And I will see you in the next one. Know your wood, know its story, and build accordingly.